with what you were doing, like, man, it's whole new, like, there's a quote by Joe Satriani, which is, if anybody's into guitar and stuff, Joe Satriani is a god. And he's a wonderful musician, but he has this quote that always rang with me, and it was, "Music is the sound of the heart and the voice of the soul. And the more you understand it, the deeper the listening experience becomes." And I found, for me, in that, like, the more you understand about music, the more that I'm like making a person, the more that I learn about music, the more I can appreciate music. And I'm trying to wrap my head around, like, the way that you were able to do some stuff, and I can't really do it. It's just like, it's beautiful, man. You're, like I said, you're breaking new ground.
The way that you set up the story at the beginning too, like, I feel like that sort of story is so relatable to so many of our journeys.
Yeah,
especially the idea of, like, looking at all the, like, visualizing the destruction that's happening and the way that the what is his name? Saya.
Yeah.
How he must have felt looking out.
Yeah.
And seeing all that, and like me, sometimes I have a hard time picking out lyrics the first few times that I hear songs, and I still, like, I felt it.
Mm-hmm.
To where I had, like, actually at one point tears, like, running down my face, and I think it's something that can really be beneficial for people, like, releasing.
It's an emotional. See it as an emotional journey. It's like light and dark, dark and light, which means it's like it has its own being. Like it's just something really incredible from a perspective of the human experience.
Yeah.
So it's just like I don't know how you embody that, but I mean, I know how I've been around you, so I know what went on through there, some of the stuff anyway. But it's incredible, bro. And I encourage you to just talk to the world. They need to hear you.
Yeah.
So that's a good question. Like, how do people hear this music?
Yeah.
How do we have access to it?
Yeah. So that's really what this is this is the release part, the listening party to follow the release party. So from, like, this week, the first track will go out, which is the intro, and every week thereafter there will be a new single, and so this will be released as singles, and also through a medium. I'll definitely put it on Spotify. I'll put it on Audius, which is like a blockchain, SoundCloud, and if anyone really encourages it, I can do Apple Music. This is also an open forum, so, like, I'm very interested to hearing, like, what you guys want, like what you feel would be moving or inspiring to you. Like, I'm super open. Yeah, I know what you want, dirty boy.
And I know, Jay, this has been part of your process too, but Audius, and really, it's a really beautiful time that creators are able to access in a way they haven't been able to create before. Audius is a platform.
So
like that.
so we'll get into, like, the release in a little bit, like,
But as far as
onward strategy.
Yeah.
I will go for it.
Could I ask a specific question
Please.
about the journey, a couple about the journey?
Yeah.
At the beginning, near the very beginning, there was tears. I heard tears, crying, and I'm curious to know if that was a moment you recall in recording that, and if so, like, what was moving through you then, if you recall that, or willing to share?
Yeah, totally.
Fantastic question. I was curious as well.
Because it sounded real.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of this for me is, it's a mixture of two things. One of them being, or really it's like two timelines. The first timeline is that of the full overarching creative journey of what it feels like. Like, I've had this shit in me for a really long time, and I've been in an incubation, in an echo chamber with it, truly just not knowing how to share it. For a long time, I thought that sharing it in the wrong way would be like giving other people my schizophrenia. Like that was my mind state for a while. So a lot of those tears were me tapping into that well of this accumulated journey of like feeling this universe inside of me that's bursting at the seams, and then really not knowing how to relate to other human beings, not knowing how to relate to other people. And that's like the torment of Saya. Like he is an archetypal figure in my psyche, who is, you know, like sitting in this fortress of highly advanced technology with no idea how to use it, and no idea how to share it or how to approach or like what that means. And in the passage of Saya, well, to first answer your question, it's like so that was the core well that I tap into. And my sister's an actress, and she can cry at any time. She can just turn them on, and she's always been able to do it. It's like, what the fuck? So when I go in to reach into my pain, like when I'm recording, I never know what's gonna come through. Like I very infrequently will come with something predetermined or pre-planned, but that well like goes all the way to hell for me, and that is also my gift, you know, is to like I know where hell lives inside of me, and I can reach in there at any time. So it also feels like a gift to have this mapping of this EP is like that's a room where hell is welcome to the table, where the beast is welcome to sit, and I've got a table place set for him, poured him some fine wine, and we can have a conversation. And there's also a journey to facilitate that, because it's not just hell. It's about how does the darkness and the evil, the torment within our life come to create a picture and a painting? How does the black and white weave together in the juxtaposition of life? And that's something that I feel like I've been waiting for a long time, or learning how to do for a long time, where it's just not like me getting up here and screaming and crying, but like a journey in which that screaming and crying is part of it, and it's welcome, it's accepted. And then the other part of the question is like, you know, where was I at the point of that recording? And that's where life comes in. And so there's these deep currents, I feel, of the ocean of my life, where at any point I can tap into the well, or the well of joy. Ecstasy and torment are dear friends to me, and I can call them in at any time. And then there's what actually happens in life, which is like the currents or the waves that are on the ocean that we're riding. And in that song, I don't know. There wasn't. I recall that there wasn't a thing. There wasn't something that happened. Sometimes there is, and there's a track in which I really wrote as something that I can speak to, but oftentimes there's not, and oftentimes I just wake up feeling like fuck, you know, and I don't actually even have to wake up feeling bad to go into that space. Like that space is joyous to me. That's cathartic. That's just real. Like I love feeling myself. And that's why, you know, I've been working with a lot of mediums for a long time. I think this is all relative, but music has been such a beautiful friend, lover, companion, because of the way that it opens up the space for me to feel myself. Yeah, exactly. So there wasn't a thing that I was writing in the beginning track. In some of the tracks, there are things that I'm writing. And I can very clearly articulate those too. Yeah. Any other thoughts or feelings or sensations?
Yeah, I still work with a vocoder.
How's it work with vocoder?
Yeah, how does it feel?
What do you mean?
You can almost get R2D2 from there.
R2D2's live. With driving inside.
I mean, he's hard to find. You like the vocoder?
I do. I think there's a few expressions of autotune. And I feel like a lot of the music experience for me, like what I'm really interested in is learning how to synthesize these two different aspects of my being, which is like the love for very traditional and classic guitar, percussion, vocal, jams, and then this like, what the fuck is going on in that AI device? So like vocoder is this beautiful synthesis, and all of this is a synthesis of AI and Gaia. So Shemaya.
Very nice, very nice.
I've got a question for you. So with this particular project, what would you want your listeners, like, how do you feel, like, what, I guess, how am I saying this, like, not what you want your listeners to get from it, but, what do you expect them to feel, how do you expect them to feel or relate to it? That's the question.
Yeah, that's a deep question for me as well. Like, this is so new for
I know
me.
it's you, but you know what I'm saying? Like, it's,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
your art, but like,
Totally.
what would you?
So yeah, two ways that I'll relate to that is first, this experience right here is totally new to me, and like to have a reflection, you know, to come outside the echo chamber is so cool and such a gift in and of itself. So like I feel in a huge way like you guys are all here for me, and I just cherish that in each of every one of you that's just showing up to be here right now for this beautiful moment of my life. And with all of that, like this is important to me because I know that there's a gift, there's an offering, there's something here to be shared. There's a reason that I do this, and there's a reason that it's not made for an echo chamber. It's meant to come outside. And what the passage of Saya is all about is the passage of incarnation. Saya goes from this broken king that doesn't know how to utilize the tower of what he is, and he stands for all of the potential that is embedded within each and every one of us. And in the dream that lives dormantly inside of us until we choose to actualize it. So every time that I arrive to music is a choice to actualize and embody the living dream inside of me. And the only purpose of sharing this is to inspire that call to action within the world. Yeah, that's it. That's literally it. Yeah, so the whole passage of Saya is really the journey from Saya to Asaya. And the journey begins in his suicide. Right? It begins as he's just had this tormented life of all of the life unlived. He's been, you know, tormented by all the beauty in some sense that he sees inside of himself. There's one lyric that's in a track further down. It goes, cheers. Here's to the fallen forefathers of devastation and nation. And that is an ode to as a culture, the guidance that we have not received. I feel we've been brought into a culture that is a total misunderstanding of what we are. And we've been educated to be this notion of right that's just totally fucking confused. And I'm also not here to criticize or bash or like say how evil anything is. Like it's just the way that it is. And we are here not to criticize or judge or shame the train that has been driven horribly off track, but we are here as the present and current riders to take the helm and bring it home. Yeah, so cheers. Here's to the fallen forefathers of devastation and nation and degradation of all I am, trapped in the glory of this fucking station. Here's where I reside, all the beauty inside of me. I'm torn the fuck alive by all the beauty I see in me. Inside your eye of my demise are the words I come alive but will never speak. I'm screaming, I'm dreaming about my bleeding lungs. I mean it, a heart fiending to die so young. I'm heating up, beaten up into my karma. I'm dreaming of fucking meeting a scream of a new tomorrow. It's like, I feel what's inside of me, and I feel what's inside of all of us. And I'm dreaming of a day where we actually come the fuck to life. And that's the purpose of this. It's like this is a calling to water what we are, And if my work in this life can be anything, it's simply nourishment and breath, water, sunlight to what we are. Like, I'm not saying that society needs to go one way or the other, and I'm here to weaponize my psyche and artistry and then burn this fucking tower to the ground. And the tower is the Tower of Saya. So like through the passage, through the Odyssey, it's like, so Saya wakes into the world with no memory, but he's got blood on his hands, so he's not an innocent man. And he comes into the world with this epic fortress, but he doesn't know how to use it. And throughout his Odyssey, which I'm interested in releasing this as like each single that is released is an invitation to view a website which houses the story. And I'm still making this story. Like I'm making it with you guys. Like I don't really know what this is. So it's very much an improvisation. And like the whole passage of Saya is, instead of trying to do this all inside and then demonstrate to you and share with you like one perfect product, I'm just gonna start the process of sharing with you and figure out how it all comes together along the way. But my intention in the core passage of Saya is true, and that's just to come alive, for all of us to come alive. I forgot what I was saying in the beginning of that, but yeah. Yeah,
I see a visual to this.
totally.
Yeah.
He has a lot of visions.
I got a lot of visions. What's that?
Might have to contact Alex Grape or something like that.
Yeah, he's welcome.
He'd probably do that.
As you witnessed yourself and your journey of creating this, what do you feel like maybe one of your lessons is that helps you continue to create in the way you are? Or learning, what kind of serves you?
Yeah, I would say the core struggle of my life and the lesson that I'm here to learn in my evolutionary cornerstone is truly learning how to organize my being so that I live for this. I die for this. I've been born to bleed for this. And so much of my struggle in life is in this space where I realize that I'm not actually living up to my potential. And in the spaces that I realize I'm not, and really simply what that means for me is I'm not showing up. It's clear what it means for me to show up to this work. And when I'm not showing up, I feel horrible. And I'm interested, and only interested, in organizing my entire being around creating this, discovering this. And this is a, this is a temple of my discovery. This is a fruit of that effort, that labor, that love. And I know there's so much more that I can give to this that I want to. And I feel like I'm here for one purpose, and that's to do this. And what this is, it's not just music, but it's in everything that I do. And it's not always in everything that I do. And I'm learning how to breathe it into everything that I do. And everything that lives as liberty, that lives as seva, is so instrumental in learning how to connect with that stream of magic, care, intention, and bring it into life. But for me, this is a fruit of showing up, and I only hope to arrive all the more in the next chapter that is to come.
Thank you, Michael.
Michael?
Michael Jackson is a genius.
Really?
Like, this is a compliment.
Thank you,
to,
thank you.
to how you speak about your work.
Yeah.
I think it's humble, humility in it.
Mm.
And so I respect that. That's why I said that.
Mm. Thank you. Praise Michael Jackson. Thank you for being here with us.
And as you have all this community around you, is there any way we can serve you in what you just shared?
That's a really beautiful question. Appreciate that. I honestly don't know how to answer that at the moment. And I feel like the majority of that response comes from like you guys just being here right now is all I could ever ask for. And yeah, I have full faith. I have nothing to ask after this. And I just have like faith in this is really clearly the next step in my journey. And I trust everything that is to come in the domino effect. You guys are here. That's all I could ever ask for. And I so deeply appreciate the presence of being here. And yeah, I guess the other ask is like, let's do what we're doing and fucking incarnate, like come into what we are and be here for each other. Thank you guys.
Oh, we're here for you, man.
Yeah, I feel that.
I have a question. It's based on the storyline of Saya, right?
Yeah.
Saya or Saya?
Sorry.
Saya. So he was basically enclosed in, like, he's inside this tower, and then he couldn't come out because there's no way he could manage the intelligence of that pyramid. But eventually he did come out, didn't he?
Yeah, he killed himself.
Oh,
He
that's
jumped
how
out.
he come out?
Yeah.
But he's used, the storyline, I remember he couldn't get out of the balcony even to reach to his people,
Until everyone else had died.
and then he killed himself then?
Yeah, and then after everyone's died and there's essentially no point in stepping out into the balcony. Like he's terrified of the light. And so only once everyone has died can he step out into the balcony, and then he gives himself to the water that has overtaken the civilization and the beat.
So he literally didn't come out as a physical form, he came out as a spirit. I'm just
He comes out.
picturing as a.
Yeah, I would say he comes out in his physical form after all the other physical people have left.
And then the whole pyramid collapsed or just dissolved?
Well, the journey of Saya is one in which, so he gives himself to death. He gives himself to the other side. He gives himself to the water. And so each track then holds a scene, which is what happens in Saya's journey. And the transition of Saya is essentially once he gives himself to the water, he moves through all of the sea of tormented souls inside of his self, his psyche, all the people that he's failed and fucked. And he comes into this divine reception, this DMT access point where once he dies, it's like all of a sudden he's flooded and flashed with what the purpose of it all is. Like a PSA announcement. Before you enter the gates of heaven, there's this PSA going on, and that's the track Shala, which is the third track to play. And this is the lyrics are evocations of a new nation, daily degradation of our soils, imitation, elation, celebration, new nation, we be the birthing of body of Gaia, arise the fire, AI empire. And it's this transmission, which is like, we are here to fucking arrive, to incarnate, to merge AI and Gaia into one new empire, which is both the birthing and the birthing and the destruction of what is. And so he has this big PSA announcement, and he's like, okay, Spirit, got you. Like, this is what we're here, this is what we're supposed to be doing, this is what I just failed at doing entirely, and I died, and everyone died. That's so tragic. And after this PSA, this announcement, this clarity, he comes into inversion insidium, which is like fall to earth. Okay, so it's like the epiphany of all that there is, all we are and could ever be, and here's where we are. Here's where I am. So far away from that. And Inversion Insidium is a pretty fucked up track, to say the least. But it's like, baby, I'm sorry, I love you, will you please forgive me as I draft my knife hand and I pull you under the water? Dismembered bodies and feet dangling, open up my chest with meats hanging. And like this something about this body's a vessel, a vestibule for the end of all. And it's all this just like, it's like the horror show encapsulated. And the purpose of Inversion Insidium is to create a container for hell. To create a container. And this is where Saya is like, he has the epiphany of all that he is, and then he comes to all that into hell, which is like also where he reconnects with his memory. The stream of his lineage, which is essentially the lineage of the patriarchy, the lineage of those who had built the tower, initially for good intention to provide sunlight, magical life force to the people, but then at one point became totally power hungry and started the beacon of light that was supposed to be the heart giving life to the people became the space that was sucking life from the people. And so Inversion Insidium is the point in which he re-accesses like why there's blood on my hands and why I'm no innocent victim, I'm no innocent man. And that's also the process of that was like really coming in touch with the devil inside of myself. And a lot of my journey has been about like truly seeking to acknowledge, understand, accept, and embrace this space and recognize that it does have a place. Recognize that it is a vital energy source of our lives, and it isn't something to hide from, to cower away, to pretend like it isn't there. It's to learn how to develop a relationship with, so that we can be vitalized by its energy, which is our energy. And Inversion Insidium is like this connection with hell, connection with everything that we can be but are not, and then this embrace of it all into like the alchemy of now. And then it goes into this like the little beat drops and goes snap back into Magic Man, a whoop bass like a kill in the Clash of Clans, the last man to stand, which is like tapping into this space. It's just like there's a legion of storm sorcerers who like I feel like inside of all of us is this fucking badass who knows how to work our power. You know, I feel like all of us are beings that extend, our mastery extends far past what we've been able to develop or cultivate within this lifetime. And so it's like connecting with that aspect of ourself and calling it into form. And so a lot of that is like, for me, is also discovering all of the memory that lives outside of memory. And that's also about calling all of us, all of me, into being, into body, and allowing, and that's what I feel the energy within hell, like learning how to connect with those roots of what we are. It's like Saya awakens his memory stream, which is both the torment of all of the wrong that he's done, as well as this is everything that I am. And then the third part of that is like the encompassment of it, the embrace of it, and then like the vitalization of it, so that we sail into life with all of our vision open and not choosing not to hide from anything that we don't want to see.
I feel like I just being walked through to a play.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a play this is just the soundtrack of that play. You have visions, you have stories, and you have metaphor, and it's just a self-awakening realization path of being that, you know, gone through this journey and this part of ourselves that now welcoming all the aspects back to, you know, just to complete our journey so we don't leave behind and we don't hide things under the rugs, and it's sometimes facing that darkness and facing that side of ourselves that we didn't love, we judged, and it's a journey that was challenging yet it's rewarding. And so I just felt like being guided by your storyline telling, I feel like there's more to come from this creation, you have this music down, and now I can even see could be a movie, could be a play, you
Yeah.
know, could be some kind of.
Could be an NFT.
Yeah, it can be anything that you decided to take this to the next level, you know?
Mm.
And that's just how I feel, how I can envision by being here and being part of that, you know, you just told me the story. And then I already have a vision, that I already felt that everything, you know, just really, sky's the limit, you know, there's no limit actually, it's just, you can take it anywhere.
How about
Yeah.
the specific group gets to see the movie for the first time?
Totally,
Yeah.
yeah.
What
I
else
just
is
see
allowed?
there's a
You're all
you know,
invited. It's been
futuristic
demonstrated.
animation or this kind of you know, indie film, but in a way that has so much of those avant-garde visions and visuals, and then yet you can even throw in like even between songs, or even when the song transition, you can have a little bit more of a scene changes that you wanted to tell the story even in detail that you just share with us.
Yeah.
You know, and that can fill in the gaps of all the emotions that the way it is. And then when the whole thing was done, it's almost like Shakespeare. To me, it's like to be or not to be.
Yeah.
It put people to that whole deep contemplation about this is the journey of one soul that, you know, tried to break away from the facade and then all the purposes that person put in it. Oh, I'm a king, I'm supposed to help all people outside.
Yeah.
But I cannot reach outside until this person decided I'm gonna embrace my own the sovereignty and the being and die in that spot and transform. And then all the things shatter because nothing outside matters. Until everything really fades away, and then it's just this one spirit will show up and embrace all the darkness, all the past lives, all the aspects, and boom, and you can come out outside anywhere you want to go, however you want to be after that. But I feel like that journey is going so deep, and so like it takes you to the winding road of mindsets and judgments and guilt and shames and all that stuff. But
Yeah.
then it's necessary.
It's necessary. Totally. And I feel like, yeah, amen, baby. Thank you. Yeah, I feel it's necessary. And I feel like the pursuit of artistry is a really beautiful metaphor in the sense that it's like my interest in engaging creation is to have access to all of me. Like all of these are different rooms within the palace of my emotional psyche. And now that they're said and spoken, the land has been charted and mapped, it's like rooms that I can reach into. And from this arsenal of rooms that I have access to, I can also go out and explore more and really get to experience the infinity of what we are, and also the beauty of everything that we are and can be, as well as the serial killer tormented soul doesn't actually live that far from anyone. And that's what I find is like the more that I explore, the easier it is to relate to everybody. So, and I also find there's immense beauty in being able to relate with everyone, to recognize that we're all doing our best here, that we're all here to live and discover what it means to live together. And there's infinite paths of like truly turning on. It's totally different for each person. I'm interested in doing it for myself and holding that calling as an invitation and an evocation for everyone around me. And I also want to open up the floor for you guys within recognizing this. Like, I'm curious and deeply would love to hear like what does it mean for you to step up, to step in? Like, what is your dream? What is it that you seek to breathe and birth to life? And hold this space and cherish this space as a step forward into that. Like whatever, this is a garden of life that we're collectively envisioning and creating. And anything that we speak here is being brought to life. So an invitation for anyone who is called to speak, to throw something in the fire and water something in the garden of what is blooming and becoming.
I want to see you water the garden.
Okay.
No, but seriously. Seriously, I want to see you water the garden. You started the process. You created this amazing piece of work. You're a beautiful being, all aspects of you. Now I want to see you water the garden. Which means to me, and this is just my thing, I see light. So I want you to reflect that light that's in you to the people. The love. It's one aspect. It's good. It's beautiful.
What could that look like from your point of
You
view?
know that.
Yeah,
You will find that. But it's something that you want to create in this world.
yeah,
I think you're doing it right now.
totally.
Yeah.
No, I think it definitely is.
And then-
It's in
But then it's like expanding, you know,
yeah,
and
it's
going outside of this group,
yeah,
outside of your.
And I think that's what he means by continue.
Yeah,
continue.
I'm
exactly.
seeing-
The seeds have been planted, we have sprouts,
Yeah.
we have sprouts sticking up, keep watering that.
Yeah, let me say this real quick. Like it's there, it's already started, it's nothing that needs to be fixed.
Right.
I'm just saying like that, I think I said everything I could say, but I'm like, I want you to twist it, it's nothing, the
Yeah.
work is fine. This is what she was saying, like, I see your path already, I see where you're at already, I'm already there. But I love the fact that you started with this, because it's the root cause of so much in everything you went through.
Yeah.
But you're so far, you're already ahead. I already see you.
Yeah, like finding, finding people outside of the community, maybe doing this in other venues, or inviting people from outside the community to like host events like this. I think that's definitely how.
Yeah, because you're gonna, go ahead, sorry.
No, yeah. I just think that it's like you have the microcosm, and it's just like expanding from there, and growing from there.
Yeah, totally. And I do have this curiosity within me of like, okay, what does it mean to do this again? Or next? And obviously there's the call to performing this live, and that's totally a place I don't want to go. And I'm curious if anyone has input or thank you, baby. or intrigue, or how would you like to see this next incarnated, knowing that it's like both the music and whatever I'm speaking to now, like how I want to be totally open and receptive, as this is super new for me of like having reception. How would you like to see this grow?
Yeah.
I have a feeling that you have a great mural that you've been drawing or painting. And I always feel like, I'm not trying to tell that, to pin it down to this is this is probably one of the things that was in the air that I just caught it. Because the visual, for me, because I'm very visualized, like I could see things that based on the emotions and the music, I already seen the whole movie. So I live in that kind of visual world in a way that has emotions and pictures and colors and smells and sounds, and so I just wanted to feel that it has life. It carries energy already. You created this beautiful life theme, right? This art has its own life. And I felt Shamati was saying, like, just water it, it's just, you keep projecting your light on it.
Yeah.
And then it will grow into something rather magical, that maybe our mind, the way we said, how do we market it, how we put it out there, it's just so limiting. Because our minds are just based on what we knew from the mass media and the marketing method that out there, that, you know, we try to prop it up. But yet this tree, this beautiful life, tree of life, it probably will take on its own,
Yeah.
you know, magical path.
Yeah.
I just felt you do what you love and let this thing carry its own magic.
Yeah.
Trust the process.
That's how I felt.
Trust
But
the
then you
process.
can keep
Yeah.
creating to it, or whatever the synchronized event comes and joy will happen, and then whenever it's a perfect time, you share it.
Yeah.
Share it, and then it will create the momentum to keep bringing to other.
Yeah.
You know, the right components will show up. Who knows, maybe one day the movie producer, you know, all the stuff that we cannot fathom right now in our own resources, in our own mind. We just have to learn how to go beyond it. And or
Totally.
accept it, receive it.
Yeah.
How that goes.
I mean, you've already broke boundaries as far as producing wise. What I just heard, just like that's you produce the production wise, it's just phenomenal. You've already broke the boundaries.
And I have some ideas. This whole conversation and what you're doing is, like I'm actually going to be putting on some events. Shameless plug here, but but I would love to collaborate with you a lot. It's mostly based around like microdosing mushrooms, like doing and ceremonies. So
Present.
integrating that like a musical performance into all that.
Yeah.
You know, we're starting small, but eventually I want to have like weekend retreats for that kind
Totally.
of stuff. So I would love to collab with you like that. And
I would love that.
bring you on. That'd be awesome.
Totally,
'Cause
man.
I feel like especially, you know, if people are open and like taking mushrooms and journeying, that is a journey in and of itself.
Yeah.
So you'll really experience like the full download of your music, which I've already experienced. You know, so I feel like your music really, it just kind of unlocks some doors in my consciousness that that was really cool. So yeah, I would love to do something like that with you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Totally down.
Second that.
There you go,
Yeah.
magic just happened.
there it is.
We didn't know until you spoke something out and the door
Exactly.
just opened.
Yep.
There's just gonna be doors.
Yeah.
Everybody
Yeah.
who felt it and then agree and then just resonate with it will keep bringing in new life and then watering that tree. So one way or another, you do what the part that you love and you already did it, and then let the other part that fills in.
The other thing I would just say, really quick, is that it's an organic process. So like where this music goes, it's gonna go to the right audience, the right people. I just don't think like, we definitely know you don't have to steer it. I mean, I sit there and say like, okay, I want to water the garden, but I trust that what you have created, what you are doing, who you are is his own magic, man. And don't let it ever get in the way of that.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have to tell you that, but I'm just saying that, like, you know, for myself,
Receiving
for
it.
you, Reflection,
Yeah.
or everybody, it's like, that's what makes it so pure and so ingenious, is the fact that you're creating from somewhere deep in your soul, from everything we know, you know, and all this other stuff. So it's a beautiful thing.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you, Mama. This means the world to me.
Yay! Congratulations.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Salud.
Salud.
So much fun.
All right.
Yeah, it's absolutely amazing how you were like able to capture thoughts. And I think you know what I mean. Like you did a good job of capturing that. like right from the beginning, you know, with the emotions that we put into it. It just like buried it right from the opening of the gate. Yeah, we're just gonna break all those down.
Mm.
Yeah, it feels like you kind of transport us into like what your mindset was at the time of producing and writing and everything. So,
Mm.
feel that.
Yeah, it's really funny to me to. It's funny to me to begin at the suicide door. Yeah, it's like
I think that was perfect.
Yeah.
And so much of what you shared of the story really resonates with my own journey, and I feel like is an aspect of all our journeys.
yeah.
And when one is in that place where, you know, there's the perceived disabilities of not being able to create and not knowing how to create, really, like, I know for me, I've had moments like that on my journey where things were so dark, I thought that was the only option. And I know for many of us have been in the darkness like that, and then you begin to find that life within and the alchemy that our vessels are capable of,
Yeah.
and how that shifts things into a space of creating, and that's really, like, you told the story of not just your own life, of all our lives, and I really loved what you shared about, like, you didn't, for so long you didn't know how, it was like being birthed in you, and you could feel it growing, and yet you didn't know how it was going to happen, but you just kept taking that next step.
Mm.
And that again resonates with my own journey. Sometimes we don't know, like, there's the deep dark, I call it my Jabberwocky. Like, it's just this thing, you don't know what it is, but and you don't know how it's going to turn out, but you just keep keeping the faith and taking that next step, and like, look what you created. And I agree, like, it needs to happen, it organically is how it happens. And it's interesting hearing, you said, you know, organically, because so much of our journey with our own creation has been like trying to figure out, like, we feel this thing needs to be, you know, we want to birth, like, we know it's what we're here for, and then, like, getting the confusion of the world, like, this is how you're supposed to do it, this is what a business is, and this is how you promote. And one of the reasons why we were called into this space is, like, it just felt like now our creation can be organic. And so I love that a lot of your story came from the land here. That's really inspiring as two people who are, like, really feeling the land and feeling the call here.
Yeah.
It's like, like, we're like, we are taking that next step, and each of us here are taking that next step in our life to listen to that voice within, not knowing how it will turn out, but having the faith that it will. So,
Amen. Thank you.
I have a little bit of a different perspective.
Yeah.
Like, I can hear you saying it's going to be a movie. Like, it's that profound. Like, it's such a work of art that you've created. And I think you should push it. Like, organically is one thing, but intention is another thing. If your intention is to share this art you have in your body, you fucking put it out there. This is
Whoever else said, or, you know, circumstance happened, you just wake up in the morning, I'm gonna write a song. It happened.
Yeah.
And you didn't even have to plan it, you just really had the urge and the desire and the excitement to do it. And that day it happens like magic. And I'm sure there's one day you just, I'm just gonna go out there and then set up this little stand and I'm just gonna perform to people. You don't have to plan, you can plan on it, but you can also just say, when that hit me, it's the right time to do that right thing, and then you promote, and then you do organically,
Yeah.
but then you do it with the synchronicity, and you just
Yeah.
bring it, and that day will be the perfect audience to hear your song.
Totally.
Absolutely,
That's an
yeah.
incredible insight.
Totally.
I felt that was the most, to me, that was the middle, sort of like a fine tuning to that
Yeah,
magic
exactly,
point, that sweet spot.
Mm.
You know, don't force it too much, like you effort too much,
Yeah.
but then you create a energetic, safe space for you to say, I'm willing to receive that moment.
Like.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, that's
you
that's the
prompt out that last week, you said, I'm gonna do this party. And we were all just there, or at least I got the information just right there. And then I was just like, wow, awesome. I would love to hear the whole song, because I know how you have already producing it when I live here. So it's just like a natural formation.
Yeah.
And then my time is open and everything's just perfect.
Yeah.
You said it in 3 words or 4 words, the alchemy of now.
yeah.
That should be something.
Yeah.
Also, we're discussing like an album.
That's the LPs.
Bigger than the
Yeah,
album,
right.
it's everything we're talking about. It's how to co-emerge.
Totally.
So your future self, your future self is now, but I'm just throwing it out there. Because I feel like this is what I'm seeing. Like, are you ready? Like, this is a small gathering, right? But I see the audience much bigger for you.
Than this.
Oh, hell, yeah. No,
You
but-
think?
but my guess, like, how are you ready for that?
Yeah.
Good.
Well, here's the thing.
Because, yeah.
Musically, I haven't stripped all the vocals out of these tracks and done the thing. And sure, I think my voice can be a lot better. But like, yeah, I'm ready. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just,
Like, in every sense of the term, I'm fully ready.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
yeah, I feel that, but I just
Yeah.
wanted to let you know that that's about to happen for you.
Yeah.
One aspect that I really loved about the way that you presented it tonight
Yeah.
was that when it began, you like killed the lights, take a deep breath, take a deep breath, kill the lights. There was no visual stimulation. And that's something that you never see for live performances.
Mm.
When music is performed live, there's always a visual aspect of it,
Yeah.
which I have mixed feelings about. Because you don't need your eyes to hear an album, to hear musicians.
Yeah.
Like I liked how everything was dimmed out and the only focus was the sound. Like there's no light show or any kind of other distractions, and it just like and like I think that's the difference between noise and music. There's sound everywhere, sound, but the difference between noise and music is the silence
Mm.
in between the sounds. And when the lights go down and everything goes out, then it brings that silence.
Mm.
And it allows that space. Like, I think that would be a really interesting aspect to be like, hey, come see this guy live. You go to see them live. There's 15,000 people or whatever in a stadium. You go see it. All right, cool. Lights. Nothing but sound.
That'd be cool.
And so you just sit there in the dark.
Maybe somebody would have to pass out a disclaimer before that happens.
Dark show. Dark show. You're getting sued.
They'll have the little lights on the walkways, like in movie theaters and shit, so you don't trip and stuff. But like, no, I think that was a really. I thought that was really cool though. Like, it takes.
Yeah, zones you into just.
It was really a night though.
This is what we're using. We're
Yeah.
using these, not that.
I'm curious if you've thought about incorporating any type of breath journey with it. Because much of what we do with breath is take people on a journey, and as I was listening, normally I'm always called to dance, and I almost got up a few times to dance, but I was so deep in the journey, and I was like, what would this be like if I was doing our meditative breath work with it? And I think that it would really take people in a different way.
Super open to that. Haven't really given it much thought.
Let's conduct experiments.
Yeah, I've been moved
Hey,
tremendously.
we're here for
Yeah.
4
You're all
days,
allowed.
so
I'm down to do everything.
Let's, if you wanna leave this up, if you're allowed to leave it up, we can come back tomorrow and do some breath work, with it. I think that would be really cool, just to experiment with it and see what happens.
I'm super down. We
Okay,
can do that.
Let's do
I'm
it.
in. I'm in. For sure. Yeah, I would love that. Sounds extraordinary. Yeah, I'm really, at this point, I feel like tonight the ship lands and I'm truly down to go anywhere and do anything. And I'm very flexible in what that means. I'm very exploratory and down to try anything. And that also doesn't, I'm also welcoming failure. I'm welcoming, eating shit. Done it a lot, pretty good at it. But I'm here to do what, I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing. I acknowledge that. I'm here to try everything, and I know that in the process of throwing paint at the wall, something's gonna stick. Some form will emerge, and I appreciate all of you for the reflection and the feedback and I'm always open to ideas. This is so helpful to me, and I'm always open to this conversation. And I also want to be just so all of you know, at this point in the show, I'm super down to have this conversation through infinity and beyond. Truly feels like the ship is landing. Yeah, that's what it seems like to me. Is
Let it unfold.
the next thing for me
Enjoy
is
the
just
journey.
to release it digitally, share that it's been released, and then to strip the vocals and just practice for the performance. Don't know where that will be. You're all invited. But yeah, the next act of this show is to have me on the mic. And that sounds super fun. And that's a different kind of engagement. Maybe with more people. Maybe with less. Maybe just myself. No, we're past that era. It's a new dawn. Yeah. I love you guys. Thank you. Yeah. Truly. Cool.
Thank you for sharing.
Dance party. I'm down for whatever wants to happen next. Anyone wants to go home?
Do it again.
Anyone wants to continue talking? I'm open.
So I'll go grab the pound of mushrooms in the truck.
Yeah. I'll get the laxatives.
Go from there.